Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of The Singing Voice Explained. On today's episode, we're going to talk about posture. Posture is a pain, or rather, we want to try to eliminate pain by improving our posture. See what I did there? I think I'm clever. When we're talking about posture as it pertains to singing, we're talking about maintaining a dynamic stance. A dynamic stance is one that is supportive of your efforts. In number 2, we'll talk about breath. That's supportive of your respiratory processes and also eliminates stress, increases circulation. Okay, it helps in digestion. Not that digestion is on your mind necessarily when you're performing. Well, oh no. Anyway, I digress. So, I'd like to talk about a couple different things today about posture and how your posture can be improved pretty quickly by a few things. The first thing I don't want to talk to you today about are your toes. Nope, I don't really want to talk about your toes, but here we are. So, why do I bring up your toes? Because your toes are the farthest thing from the mothership, okay? The connector wires, it's the longest extension cord you got neurologically from here to your toesies, okay? When you take stock of your feelings, not emotions, the feelings, the sensations of the muscle groups, if you focus on that end point, it's really helpful to take stock of everything in between. Okay, so if your toes are scrunched up in your shoe or whatever you're doing, take stock of that because then your whole foot is probably all weird and then your legs all weird and then everything else is weird. So take stock of the toes. Another part of a dynamic stance is that you can't have your knees locked. What do I mean by that? That means when you put your knees so far back that the blood is no longer permitted to flow to the area below it. This is how people pass out during performances. I have 13 years experience in public schools. I have seen this more times with appalling regularity. Okay, so we're not locking our knees. When we don't lock our knees, that allows our hips to tip ever so slightly forward. If you're standing up and you'd like to try this, feel free. Great. Great. What you're going to find then is that the lower back, the natural curvature of the lower back, also falls into place. And then the rest of the spine sort of aligns. Now, the craziest part is that if you have a giant melon dome like I do, it weighs a lot. Okay, everybody's cerebrum, is that X-Men? Everybody's head weighs a lot. It's like 20 pounds or something. I don't know. My wife watches a lot of those murder shows. I feel like 20 pounds sounds about right. Um, what? Okay. Getting your head melon to rest comfortably on your spine is one of the most important parts of posture. So, again, the knees, the hips, the lower back. Okay. When the lower back goes into a really appropriate position, it is easy for the head to sort of swivel kind of back onto its pedestal. Now, I come from a rural area. I like to talk about it's a sturdy pumpkin on a fence post. I don't know. It's got a rustic feel to it. I digress. As you're doing this process, as you're thinking about posture, it's important to remember that there is balance in the body. Okay. For every extender muscle, there's a contractor muscle. Okay. There are a couple glaring errors. They're not all paired off like that. However, most of them are. If you can send it out, you can pull it back. There's a glaring error coming up. Spoiler alert, the diaphragm. Oh boy. All right. So it's really critical that you are aware of those tensions and that you do have muscles that are opposing each other at all times. How then can you support your singing? By a dynamic stance, standing with potential energy, okay? And in a way that maximizes your abdominal expansion. Okay, we'll get to that when we talk about breathing in the next episode. It is critical that you maintain a dynamic stance as you rehearse, as you practice on your own, as you are in class in choir on Sunday mornings when you're up with the chancel choir. Posture. Think about your posture. I promise that your singing will improve. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So make sure we're not craning forward. Am I not turtle enough for the turtle club? We don't. No one wants this. Okay, none of that weird stuff, all right? Like a sturdy pumpkin on a fence post, your lower back, natural curvature of the spine, hips slightly tipped forward, knees not locked, toes relaxed. And there it is, a really nice dynamic posture.